I'm Yhonzae, Pierre, and here we're watching Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR.
This is what being a NASCAR fan is all about. Singular history and tradition. Unmatched on-track intensity. And triple-header playoffs action to ratchet up the stakes. Throw in a can't-miss concert, camping, and the legendary atmosphere of Talladega Boulevard. And you've got more than a race. You've got Talladega. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Roll Tide and welcome to this Thursday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover. Great to be with you in our Tuscaloosa studios before we hit the road, getting ready for Alabama football at Missouri this weekend. We'll go through what's coming up on our show, plus our headlines, thanks to our friends RJ Young. RJ Young is the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. They give us a smart board to go through everything in a very interactive way here on the show. We'll start our show with a one-on-one conversation with Yhonzae Pierre, outstanding edge rusher for the Crimson Tide. We'll talk about his journey to Tuscaloosa and everything going on for him this season. Then an interview with the future commish of college football, Josh Pate. A fun conversation with him, getting his opinions on Alabama football and what we've seen from the Southeastern Conference this year. Then we'll take a trip to the other booth presented by Marathon. Mike Kelly of the Missouri Tigers will give us a scouting report on Coach Drinkwitz's team getting ready for this matchup. And then we'll close out with the head coach of the Crimson Tide, DeBoer, giving his final word from last night's edition of Hey Coach and the DeBoer Show presented by Alpha Insurance. Looking at headlines for Alabama athletics, starting with the football team, of course, Saturday against Missouri, 11 a.m. start time. That means we'll get going bright and early on the Crimson Tide Sports Network at 8 a.m. with all the coverage from Faurot Field. Alabama has enjoyed a lot of success in this series, 6 straight victories against Missouri, and ever since the Tigers joined the Southeastern Conference, Alabama has not lost to the Mizzou Tigers. But as we see with that 5-0 record, 1-0 in the SEC, this is a good Missouri team. They picked up that one conference win at home against South Carolina a few weeks ago. They are the best rushing team in the SEC, third best in the nation, have the nation's top rusher in Ahmad Hardy, as well as their defense, also second best in the nation in terms of yards given up so far this season. Now, they haven't played a team of Alabama's caliber so far this year, but it is certainly an impressive start for Missouri. Always impressed by Parker Brailsford. He has been named the SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week, just doing such a great job, as we heard Michael Carroll talk about on our Tuesday show, of keeping everybody centered on the line. Then other notes around Crimson Tide athletics, starting with basketball. It was good to see Nate Oates with a press conference earlier this week talking about men's practice. Christy Curry has done that with women's practice, and both of them will be talking coming up in Mountain Brook, or Birmingham, whatever you want to say, coming up at the Grand Bohemian Hotel, coming up on Tuesday. That'll be Alabama's day at SEC Basketball Media Days. We look forward to having some coverage of that coming up in a few weeks. Soccer team, it's time for the Iron Bowl of soccer. Yes, there is that Iron Bowl trophy that we hope stays in our hands coming up this weekend. Alabama against Auburn coming up tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at the Alabama Soccer Stadium. Then the volleyball team is going to be home at Foster Auditorium. Home matches against LSU tomorrow evening. You can really make this a doubleheader if you think about it. You can go to volleyball first and then make your way over to soccer. And then on Sunday, it will be Alabama against Texas, one of the best teams in SEC volleyball, the Texas Longhorns, coming up at 2 o'clock. Right now, it's Yhonzae Pierre. He looks to be getting off the edge and getting some sacks this weekend for the Crimson Tide, maybe just stopping the run against Ahmad Hardy. He joins us to talk about his family connection to Alabama football and what it's like playing for the Crimson Tide in 2025. Roll Tide and welcome back to the LLH Healthcare Advantage Center inside Saban Field. We're at our podcast studio. I'm Roger Hoover. Now, please be joined by Alabama's Yhonzae Pierre, one of the outstanding Crimson Tide defenders, linebacker coming off the edge. Yhonzae, it seems like you do a little bit of everything for this Alabama defense. Is that how you like it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't mind doing whatever to take for the team, for the better of us, and be good, for sure.
How have you seen this Alabama football team get better so far this season?
I mean, day in and day out, we've been stacking days, and we just been grinding iron sharpening iron, and, we just still fighting.
Still fighting, and again, the last time we saw you guys play against Vanderbilt, a really good effort against a team that runs the football extremely well. What was most important in that Vandy game?
I mean, everybody got to do their 111, their assignment, and keying in to the small details and just getting to the ball.
What were some of your main assignments on Saturday?
My main assignment was, doing my 111 for the part of the team and just setting the edge doing what I do.
The edge is just so important for Alabama. Do you love being an edge rusher?
Definitely. I definitely love being an edge rusher, being violent, getting to the ball.
And, of course, this is the perfect school to do that at.
Yes,
One
sir.
of the great history of players we've had here. Were those some of the guys you really looked up to when you were thinking about playing football?
Definitely. Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, Braswell, you know what I'm saying? Definitely some guys I look up to.
Yeah, when Alabama had those guys, they always called it the cheetah packages. They're kind of a version of the cheetah package right now in this defense.
We definitely still had a cheetah package. For sure.
And you're part of that. Who else is in the mix?
Sir. Me, LT, James Smith. Then we have D-Law, Justin Jefferson. Yeah, we have some guys on the cheetah package.
That's awesome. Again, we love when you guys can get to the quarterback, slow down a quarterback, especially slow down a mobile quarterback. What's the challenge of going up against a guy like Tommy Castellanos or Diego Pavia?
I mean, just everybody just, you know what I'm saying, rushing as they quiet, you know what I'm saying, crushing the pocket, not letting anybody outside or just up the middle, leaving wide A gaps and B gaps open.
How meaningful has it been to play more this season?
I mean, it's been a blessing. Thankful to God, I mean, just helping out the team. It's just always been a blessing to just be a part of something and just doing my best at it. And, you know what I'm saying, keep working.
You feel like a lot of good hard work and practice got you ready for this opportunity?
Definitely a lot of hard work leading up to spring, summer, fall camp. We just put in the work to be able to do what we do.
And we've seen great results for Alabama as a result. Let's go back to the beginning of your journey. First of all, tell us where you're from.
I'm from Eufaula, Alabama.
Did you grow up a big Alabama fan?
Yeah, definitely grew up as an Alabama fan. Came to a couple counts, the turf and all that's still the same. For sure grew up being an Alabama fan.
That's really good. And you were also related to Courtney Upshaw, is that right?
Yeah, that's one of my cousins, you know what I'm saying? He look up to me, I look up to him. He keep me on the right track. We chat every now and then, you know what I'm saying? Yes, sir.
How cool was it to follow, first of all, his Alabama career, then everything in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, it was just good to see, a blessing to see. I mean, he was a dog, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to be like, I mean, I wasn't playing in no 3 tech though. Wasn't big as he was. He was huge. You feel me? I liked the violence from him, and I was like, yeah, got to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you're growing up, starting to play football, again, what made you love this sport so much?
I mean, just the love for the game. I mean, you go get to hit people. I played all positions when I was younger, and it was just fun being all over the field and just being able to ball out, go score and stuff. But now I'm just on defense, stopping people. It's fun.
Who were some of the coaches that really made you better?
I say my D-line coach, man, we in high school we worked, you know what I'm saying, worked me better, my pops. And then as I got here, as my the staff and stuff changed, you know what I'm saying, see Coach Robinson, I mean, I have got better with him a lot, learning football, and then just a lot has just been coming with it.
Of course, anytime you're a great standout player in this state, you're going to get a lot of recruiting attention. How quickly did Alabama reach out to you?
As I was getting offered, or when I got offered, I mean,
when you got offered, yeah.
It was down the line, but I was more excited. I was excited when I did get the call, I mean, and got the offer. It wasn't just all the way down the line, but it was just one of the ones, and it was very exciting to get. And I automatically knew I was coming then when I got it, for sure.
Did they roll out the red carpet for you? Did you get to do an official visit?
Yeah,
because again, you've been coming here for years.
Yeah, definitely got the red carpet rolled out. You know what I'm saying? And definitely came a lot of times for sure. And then on that official visit, yeah, it was one of the ones. It was the best one.
What was it like getting to interact with Coach Saban like that?
He was a good, cool, you know what I'm saying, person. He was just very chill, like just being around him, and he just kept people at a higher standard for sure.
Certainly did. So again, Alabama is able to enter in the recruiting process. How exciting was signing day when you put pen to paper and said, all right, I am definitely coming to Alabama?
It was just a stress relief. I mean, everybody was off my back, and I just got to be able to focus more on what I was going to do here and playbook-wise and all those things.
What was it like, that adjustment going from high school football to all of a sudden now this is almost like a full-time job in addition to going to school and everything that comes with it?
It was definitely a mind-changing thing. I mean, school going to be school. I mean, that's good for me. And then just football and then being my main job, it was very like, it's just a grown man sport and job. And then like you got to handle your business as well, for sure.
Yeah, is that the main thing you learned, you feel like, in 2023?
Definitely. You got to handle your business. Definitely.
And you got to be around some really good football players during that time, good coaching staff as well with Coach Saban. Just how meaningful was it for you to be part of his final team?
It was definitely meaningful. I mean, I looked up to a couple of those guys, and as in now, I understand and see why things was ran that way and the way that they studied and off the field, on and off the field. I mean, I see that.
And so you finished 2023. Coach Saban retires in early January 2024. What was that period like for you? Did you have any thoughts of maybe transferring, or what allowed you to stay here at Alabama?
Nah, I mean, I didn't quite think about transferring because, like, as in then, I haven't proved nothing. And, I wanted to still prove a point here and be able to play here.
And that allowed you to get on the field last year. What were some of your good early moments you feel like in your career?
I mean, just being able to still, like, get the chance to be here and being able to work with the people that I came in with. I mean, some of them left, but then when I actually started touching the field, a lot of it came to me.
What's the main difference between the defense we saw with Coach Saban, Coach Golding, and now what we have with Coach Womack?
It's all different, but it's all a violent defense for sure. We all been violent, and then we still got some of those guys that was here like Deontay Lawson, and I mean he stay on top of us, and he just pushed the defense, and it's all the same to me.
All the same.
Yeah.
Is it a fun defense to play in?
Definitely a fun defense to play in. Get to fly around, got a couple stunts, packages, and get to go hit the quarterback.
You mentioned Deontay Lawson. I imagine that was really tough to see him go down with injury last year, but how excited were you when he said he was coming back?
Very excited. Got a vet behind me, teaching me the ways. Looking up to him, just being able to be around him and the great person he is. He's for sure a great person, to work with.
How do you see him leading this team this year?
Definitely been well leading this team, staying on top of things, and him as in well playing great ball with all of us, and just bringing us all together as a defense and a team.
A couple other teammates wanted your thoughts on Nakai Hill-Green. What's he brought to Alabama?
Nakai Hill-Green, he's a great ball player. He's all over the ball. He's flying around. He's a good communicator. He's like a vet back there too, also as well. And we all look up to him too as well.
LT Overton.
LT, great guy, man. He can rest off the edge. He can get in the 3 technique. He do what all he can do to help the defense and the team. And yes, he's a great vocal leader.
And then he had one of the great plays of the year, that 4th down stop against Georgia. But how key was the stop Justin Jefferson had, stripping that fumble away from Diego Pavia, fallen on by Tim Keenan III? That was a huge moment for this
Huge
defense.
moment. Like our coach always say, make them play the next play and the next play, and things will fall in place for us as long as we keep playing hard.
Do you love that there's another veteran like Justin Jefferson on this team?
Definitely.
Yeah, he's a great one. Obviously, James Smith brought a lot of physicality. He missed him in the first half, I know, against Vandy, but, man, he brought it in the second half.
He definitely brought it. He's a guy that's going to always bring it, and, he's very vocal when he comes, for sure.
He really is. So, again, that's some of the good teammates you get to play around. How about this environment, getting to play home games here at Bryant-Denny Stadium?
The environment is amazing. I love playing at home. I get to turn the crowd up, third down. Crowd turn me up, and, we just get after them.
Just get after them. They're going to have a night game in a couple weeks against Tennessee. Excited for that?
Yes, sir. Very excited for that.
Well, it's really exciting to see how this football team is coming together. What for you is going to be most important over the next few weeks? Got another good rushing team against Missouri, Tennessee. There's still a lot of football to go, but I imagine the mindset's 1-0.
The mindset definitely is 1-0, and everybody just stand on top of things, moving with urgency all over the place, and you know what I'm saying, and just stand on top of things and just being just strictly as staying to the courses we can be. You know what I'm saying?
What should we know about you away from football?
Away from football, just a chill guy, chill at home, man. Study film, you know what I'm saying? And just watch ball all day for real.
NFL, college, you're watching all of it, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
Sure.
Does your family enjoy getting to be pretty close by to watch you play?
Definitely. Not far. They come most of the games. They loving it, you know what I'm saying? And they Bama fans for sure. So, like, me being here, to make it even more better.
All right, what's your final message to the fans as we hit this really tough stretch run of the season?
Man, just keep bringing the energy. We got y'all.
That sounds good. Yhonzae, Pierre, thank you for all the time you've given us today on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. All the best this week against Missouri and down the road. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
This is what being a NASCAR fan is all about. Singular history and tradition, and triple-header playoffs action to ratchet up the stakes. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
From Yhonzae Pierre to Josh Pate, who stays busy covering college football. First of all, for his own show, Josh Pate's College Football Show on YouTube, and then all the different outlets he works for. On 3 Sports, ESPN, Yahoo Sports, does a segment every week with Bussin' with the Boys from Barstool. Josh Pate is one of the busiest men in college football media, and he joins us to talk about what he's seen from Alabama football and maybe why he decided to take his show on the road coming up on Saturday for Alabama against Missouri. Here's our conversation with Josh Pate. The busiest man in college football media and one day our future commissioner. That's Josh Pate, who joins us to break down Alabama football so far this season. Josh, it's really good to see you. Just where things stand now for Alabama. How much better is it than what we were talking about after week one?
Feels like 2 seasons, really, I would say. It feels like the kind of emotion that you've already experienced pre, during, and post Florida State. And then fast forwarding, okay, UL Monroe, then Wisconsin, and then, the big sort of restart. I would say like the grand opening of Alabama's football season for 2025 was the Georgia game. And then I think the general public, okay, they watched the Georgia game and then it's okay, good, Bama's back. Bama fans knew Georgia game, awesome. All right, now it's time to go take care of business against Vanderbilt. That's really what I think a lot of those players had their mind on after that Georgia game. So then you get over that one. What I have been looking at this entire time is Eli Drinkwitz is going to get them at home rested. That's really what the schedule makers did to Alabama. So it's this every single week, it feels like, which is life in the SEC. That's what you sign up for. If people don't believe me, go check out South Carolina's schedule. I was looking at that this morning. They play 5 top 11 teams over the next 5 weeks. So, it could be worse. But I think a lot of the things that you hoped to have from the start, you now have. It just may have taken a bump in the road at the beginning of the season to, who knows, for all we know, it took that bump to shake it all into place, but it is in place now, and Bama looks like one of the best teams in the country.
Certainly do. And are we just now starting to see what a Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer offense should look like? We saw it, of course, when it was humming at Washington, but at Alabama, are we now starting to see what it should look like?
I think you're starting to see what it should look like. I vividly remember that year that they had up at Washington a couple of years ago. I went up there to see them play Oregon, and Oregon, I think Washington won the game 33-30. Unbelievable game. Highly encouraged people to go to Husky Stadium if they haven't. But I remember everyone thought Oregon would have the running advantage and they'd have the physical advantage. And they didn't really have a ton of physical advantage. They did have the rushing edge in game one. So then you fast forward all the way down the road, Pac-12 championship games coming up. And I remember Oregon was over a touchdown favorite, which made no sense to people who don't understand betting in the rematch. But what stood out to me is Washington just gashed them on the ground. And I remember thinking, wow, like when they played a couple of months ago, I wouldn't even have called the ground game one of the strengths of Washington's offensive attack. Michael Penix and Rome Odunze and all those receivers, that was it. Well, they kept adding layers as the weeks went on, and they kept, here's a crazy concept, they kept on getting better. They kept on developing, and I've heard them talk many times about layering the offense and just adding another pancake onto the stack week over week over week. Now, when you got young, immature players, that's hard to do. When you've got undisciplined or inconsistent players, that's hard to do, but that's not what they have. They've got a group, veteran enough, but really competitively mature enough, I think, to handle that. Smart guys, they're cerebral, they're very sharp, they're highly athletic. And so, yeah, that's a perfect situation for a Ryan Grubb and a Kalen DeBoer to be in, because then you can continue to reasonably expect we could build that stack higher and higher and higher. So I don't think it's any coincidence that, oh, look at that, man, Jam Miller broke some runs last week. Wow, it just so happens that the run game started to show up. Now, the big question moving forward is that a one-off, which I don't expect to be the case, or is it a theme? Because I think you can imagine already seeing how Ty's throwing the ball, seeing how that wide receiver room has emerged big time, what attaching even a B-level ground game, rushing attack, would do to that. And then downstream of Jam Miller, you just start wondering, okay, what do the other tailbacks contribute second half of the season? What does this team look like in November? Yeah, it's fun to watch because you can tell that's not a stagnant product. That offensive product at Alabama continues to trend up week over week.
What's impressing you most right now about Ty Simpson and how he's growing this season?
I said the word cerebral, so I should probably use another adjective, but I don't have many. So cerebral, that's what I would say is he's experiencing a lot for the first time in that he has only been the starter for 1 year. So I always really marvel at these guys who are going around the merry-go-round one time. Some of them only have one go-round because they had to wait to this point in their careers. And it's just something that, what is he, like 20, 21? How old is he right now?
21,
somewhere around
22,
there.
around
Yeah.
there. Yep.
So, 20 years from now, he's gone on to do whatever he does in the NFL. He's retired. You'll look back and you'll realize, just like you and just like I and anyone else could realize, how quickly the 21st year of our life went by. That's just normal people. Think about being the starting quarterback at Alabama, and it only happens once. And think about just how quick that happens, and then thinking about how zoned in you have to be in that moment to where the outside noise doesn't really exist, the outside world doesn't really exist, how much quicker it must make it go by when you have to have that mentality. So I just picture his life being a blur, which it is. Here's the skill. The skill, and this is partly on culture there, this is partly on the player, is creating an environment, kind of like in that movie For Love of the Game, where Kevin Costner's on the mound there at Yankee Stadium, and it's 50,000 people screaming, and then he just says to himself, all right, clear the mechanism, and then all the noise shuts off. And it's just the sound of him and the ball in his glove and spikes on the rubber, and boom, strike one. All right, we're off. We're underway. That's kind of how you have to be as a quarterback at the University of Alabama. That's how you have to be. It sounds so simple. I just said that in like 15 seconds. To be able to train your mind to do that as the player, or to create the environment as the head coach, and just organizationally to cultivate that being able to happen, to run your media side of things, like what Alex Thompson and those guys have to do, to be able to create that entire ecosystem. Most can't do that. Now, you wouldn't be at Bama if you couldn't do it. There are only a few qualified to do it, and that's why those guys are in the positions they're in. I don't think people will ever appreciate from the outside how hard it is. They watch you for 3.5 hours on a Saturday. They may see some practice clips. If it's you, you're living that life. Ty Simpson lives that life 24/7. So that, I know we could talk about, throws he's made. We could talk about reads he's made, lack of turnovers. All of that to me is well downstream of creating the environment that makes it possible. Because at that point, it's just your athletic ability and your decision making that takes place in a game on Saturday.
And then what are you seeing from this Alabama defense? Slowed down the run against Vanderbilt, didn't allow any points in the second half, and stopping the run is going to be critical for Alabama coming up this week at Mizzou.
Yeah, I have a couple of buddies, longtime Alabama fans, who have texted me a couple of games in a row now, Georgia game and Vandy game, which, correct me if I'm wrong, both went Alabama's way. And I've seen texts in the middle of the game, I could go back and embarrass them, where they're just blowing up Kane, blowing up the defense, and then you fast forward to the end of the game, and Vandy's got 14 points on the board. And I keep telling them, like, you guys watched for the past 15 years up until recently, you watched wave after wave of first-round NFL caliber defensive front depth roll through Tuscaloosa. And that's not to say that can't happen again, but to have it stacked like Nick Saban did, and like a couple of other programs were able to do for a little while, it's not realistic to expect to have that kind of talent profile in terms of depth in the building anymore. The landscape of college football has changed. Got nothing to do with Bama. It's got something to do with college football. So they got good players there. There aren't a lot of future first rounders waiting their turn to even get reps, if that makes any sense. And so what that means is you can't just count on suffocating people every week anymore. You gotta scheme, you gotta adjust, you gotta adapt, you gotta outcoach, but you gotta find margins. You gotta find success on the margins. And you know what? If that means sometimes you bend a little bit to avoid breaking, which are just dirty words for a Bama fan, that's the way that Big 12 teams are supposed to play. That's not the way we're supposed to play. Buddy, everybody's doing it. Georgia's doing it. Ohio State's not doing it yet, but when they come up against better competition, they'll probably have to do it as well. It's what everyone's having to do. You've got basically, I picture the job Kane Womack has, or any defensive coordinator, with the variety of offensive attacks that come at you over a 12-game season, and the fact that you just got what you got defensively. It must be like seeing a dam with 11 holes in it, and I got 10 fingers. So no matter what I do, there's a hole somewhere. I just got to be strategic about how I plug and where I plug and when I plug. So I think they've done a wonderful job, because I remember how it felt watching Bama's game against Vandy last year. It felt like you got no answer. Well, then it starts off the way it starts off last Saturday. And I was at the FSU game. I was walking into the stadium down there, and I remember looking at my phone saying, man, this feels like the fifth quarter of last year's game. This does not bode well for the rest of the afternoon. Well, then they adjusted. And your biggest fear if you're a Bama fan is, we're not going to have the adjustments. Well, you had the adjustments. All right, so that's what I'd focus on a lot more than how'd Vandy start. How'd they finish? How'd the other three quarters go? That's actually a really good sign for them.
So as we enter week 7, big picture, just in your opinion, who is the best team in the SEC?
I love what I've seen from Texas A&M so far. I love what I've seen recently from Alabama. Those two, I think Oklahoma as well. So Oklahoma's a third, pending the health status of the quarterback, are the three teams that I'd circle right now. I just think it's funny we just mentioned the Big 12 because I think the nature of the SEC feels a lot like the Big 12 this year. The talent profile, the overall athletic profile of the teams is better than what the Big 12 would normally try it out. But I mean the competitive balance. The fact that we're sitting here, it's October 7th as you and I are recording, and we could make a case for half a dozen teams winning this league right now. And I don't know, I mean, when have we ever said that? Normally you've got a favorite, maybe co-favorites, and then the question people ask all year long is, could anyone potentially challenge them? And that's the way they talk in the Big Ten now, because there's a lot more separation in the Big Ten. Down here, you got like half a dozen, if not more teams that could go on to win it. And your question becomes, who stays healthy? That's really the main thing. And then if they do, Bama absolutely is right up there. They're the odds-on favorite to win it right now. I like what I've seen from Texas A&M. The reason I had like one corner of my smile there curl up is I know what the reaction is when you mention A&M because they haven't done it. So people listen to that, and until they see someone do something, there's a sizable portion of the college football public, as I call it, that doesn't believe it's possible. There's folks that don't believe it's possible for Texas A&M to win the SEC. Who knows? Maybe they're right. I don't think they're right, but I do understand that mentality. So I'd go A&M and Bama and Oklahoma. The only reason I hesitate with Oklahoma is they haven't left home yet. So they're going to Dallas this week to play Texas. That's the first time they've left home aside from some random trip to Temple. I don't know who scheduled that, but that wasn't a challenging trip. So it's kind of like I went and saw Miami last week. I needed to see them on the road. They handled business on the road. All right, they're legit. I want to see Oklahoma handle business on the road. But those three, I think, slightly stand out amongst the pack right now.
So speaking of staying at home, the Missouri Tigers, they have not left home either as they get ready to welcome in Alabama coming up this week. You're going to be, I believe, going to the game. What's going to be most important in this matchup for Alabama at Mizzou?
You know what? Everyone always says hot start. So I'll say hot start. I just think offensive efficiency continuing to click. And just like last game, the adjustment defensively. It is not realistic to me to just think you're going to go in there and stone Missouri and Eli Drinkwitz and how good that offense has been. And they're coming off a bye. They've got an extremely good tailback there that I know people have heard the name of, Ahmad Hardy, but because Missouri hasn't played a high-level game, most people probably haven't seen him play. Folks were talking about him around the league, though, that had to play Missouri as soon as he transferred there. So they were very aware, as was Alabama staff. They were very aware of how good that player is. I think if you ask Penn State fans, given the current state of your season, would you rather have the quarterback you have, or would you rather have Bo Perbula, the guy who transferred to Missouri? I think they'd choose the latter instead of the former. So a drink just puts guys in good position to succeed. You're going to have the roster advantage on them. They're going to have home field advantage against you. I think what you have to, like what I'll be aware of for every Alabama game the rest of the year is I love that there is now a trend of 2 weeks in a row, not very penalized. There's a trend 2 weeks in a row. I know they had the turnover early against Vandy, but this is not a turnover-prone team. This is not a penalty-ridden team so far. Really, really good efficiency on the road. Last time I saw him go on the road. So I'm just looking to check those boxes every week. Because honestly, if you told me nothing more than Bama's not going to be penalized very much at all Saturday, and they're not really going to turn it over Saturday, Bama's probably going to win the game. You just tell me those two things. All due respect to Missouri. You tell me those two things. I think they can score 40 if they need to. I think they can get stops enough defensively if they need to. It's do you control the controllables? And if they do, I think they'll be okay.
Certainly hope you're right. Well, Josh Pate, catch him, of course, ESPN, On3 Sports, Yahoo Sports, and Josh Pate's College Football Show on YouTube. Josh, we always enjoy your breakdowns of college football. Just thank you for joining us on the Crimson Tide Sports Network this week, and look forward to hopefully seeing you on Saturday. Thank you.
All right, Roger. Appreciate you having me.
You mad, bro?
What's up, guys? It's Will Conformi.
And I'm Caden Proctor, and welcome to the Taco Casa Food Draft. First menu item off the list, taco burger, mild. Ooh, I need that.
I'm gonna choose the enchilada. It's a safe bet, reliable. You can switch it up, eat it with a bag of chips, or get a flour tortilla.
All right, next off the list, gotta go with the classic taco.
My next pick will be the messy nacho. It's a good option because you can do chili, beef, or chicken and change it up.
For my third pick, I'm gonna pick a nice burrito.
For my third pick, I'm gonna choose the snack burrito. It's a good option if you're like me and you order a lot of food. It's not a huge portion to add onto your meal.
I'm gonna have to go with the queso beefy nachos.
For my fourth pick, I'm gonna switch it up and go with the sopapillas. It's a good dessert option.
With the last pick in the draft, I'm gonna have to go with a Sancho.
I'm gonna go with the sleeper, the combo number 3. Caden, he already picked the taco, so that's a good way to steal the taco. And it comes with a Sancho, a taco, rice, fiolis, and chips. Good 5th round pick.
He think he knows something.
With so many great options, you have to stop by the biggest cactus in town. Roll Tide.
If you love Alabama football, you love Taco Casa, you are in luck. Make sure you enter to win our biggest cactus in town ticket package. That is not just a ticket package, a VIP package to the Alabama and LSU game coming up in a few weeks, but it's a very interactive eat and greet with Crimson Tide offensive lineman Will Conformi. His grandfather started Taco Casa years ago. He knows this menu upwards and backwards. He will take you through a VIP experience at Taco Casa in addition to all the cool things you get at the Alabama LSU game as one of our VIPs. So enter to win. There's also a commemorative cactus trophy thanks to our friends at Taco Casa. Full details can be found at rolledtide.com. You can enter to win there. We'll have a link to it coming up in the comment section of our live show here on Crimson Drive. But enter to win our biggest cactus in town package coming up. Be one of the VIPs. Get to hang out with Will Conformi. Josh Pate's going to be in Columbia, Missouri this weekend. So is Mike Kelly, of course. He's calling the game for the Missouri Tigers. We look forward to visiting with him to learn more about the Tigers this season, what's led to this good 5-0 start. Mike Kelly joins us for the other booth presented by Marathon.
Mike, it's great to see you. How's everything gone for Missouri? I imagine pretty well with a good 5-0 start.
Yeah, it's nice. It's also good to see you, Roger. Looking forward to seeing you guys this weekend. It's been a good start to the season. Missouri has done what it needed to do at the beginning of the year, particularly with the way that the schedule was set up with 6 consecutive home games, the first 5, then a bye, and now a obviously very difficult test coming this week with Alabama coming to town. But Eli Drinkwitz and his team has taken care of business against lesser opponents. Was able to face adversity in week 2 against Kansas, falling behind early by 15 and coming back to win the game by more than a score. And so they've been able to overcome some hurdles along the way. Got by South Carolina and Lenore Sellers in the opening week of SEC play a couple of weeks ago, and then handled UMass. And so now after a bye, again, looking forward to really where this team is, and we'll find out by 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock Central Time on Saturday when this game comes to a conclusion.
Well, Missouri strong on both sides of the ball. Let's start with offense. What's the personality of this Mizzou team on offense?
Go right at you. Physical. Love the outside zone with either Ahmad Hardy or Jamal Roberts. Able to play complementary football. Bo Perbula has been, I think, better than advertised. Still going through some learning pains or growing pains, if you will, and this is his first season as a starter. He's had a turnover in 4 consecutive games. And so, that's something that Missouri has got to fix. But it's something that, they feel like all are things that he will learn from, as he continues to see the different nuances of what defensive coordinators are trying to do against him. The offensive line has been good at times. I think the one thing that would be of note is Missouri's allowed 12 sacks in the first 5 games. That's too many. And then if you look at Ahmad Hardy's numbers, they're spectacular. But look at the rush yards. He's got 730 yards through 5 games, but look at the number of yards after contact. more than 500, which tells you that he's taking hits close to the line of scrimmage. And so that's something that's got to improve as the season progresses as well.
Ahmad Hardy really is the story for Missouri. Breakout, like you said, so many yards after contact. Has it been fun to watch somebody step up like him in this offense?
It really has, because you see what he did as a freshman and his numbers more than 1,200 yards of rushing at Louisiana Monroe. And you wonder, how does that translate to the next level? He rushes for 250 yards earlier this season against Louisiana Monroe. He's got 7 now consecutive 100-yard games going back to last season, 5 consecutive games here at Missouri. He's just a guy that the legs never quit moving. He had a play against South Carolina, and you might have seen it on SportsCenter through the highlights, where the outside zone in the red zone, he runs into a pile. Literally, his back goes into the defenders. His feet come off of the ground, but then the feet return to the ground, and he spins out of a tackle and rolls into the end zone from about 3 yards out. I mean, those are God-given things that people just don't teach. And so he's been fun to watch.
He really has been. And then this Missouri defense is not allowing very much at all in terms of yardage, in terms of points so far this year. Who are the playmakers there?
Zion Young and Damon Wilson have been very good. Zion Young is a kid that transferred from Michigan State 2 years ago. Damon Wilson came from Georgia and is in the first year with the program. The 2 defensive ends, they've been impactful here earlier in the season. Josiah Trotter is Missouri's leading tackler. Jeremiah Trotter is his father. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. with the Eagles is his brother. Played at West Virginia a year ago. Just a very instinctive player, as you might imagine, because of those bloodlines. Plays downhill quite a bit, and has really the ability to just find it and go to it. I think if there's a concern for Missouri, it's in the back end of the defense. The safeties and the cornerbacks have not been as good as I think Missouri had hoped that they would be. How do they perform in this game with this challenge, with this quarterback and this group of receivers, not only the wide receivers, but the tight ends that Alabama can bring to the table? And so I think that's going to be one of the matchups that's going to be, again, interesting to watch, and we'll learn a lot more about Missouri after Saturday.
And I've got to ask about special teams, because in a game like this ball game could be decided by special teams. How the Tigers look there.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. Missouri lost its field goal kicker in the first game of the season. Blake Craig, who has multiple 50-yard plus field goals made, a couple of 56-yarders a year ago, tore his ACL on his plant leg in the first game of the season against Central Arkansas. So Missouri will trot out a true freshman in Robert Meyer for PATs and field goals, and he's 6'7" with a long of 40, but he hasn't been challenged. One of 2 between 40 and 49, has not been able to go beyond 50, even attempted at this point in time. Coaches say they can run him out to about 52, but again, we haven't seen that. Drilled a very important field goal against South Carolina to put Missouri up by 9 late in that game. But that's a question mark, and again, it's something to watch. Another true freshman kicks off for Missouri. Oliver Robbins is his name. 13 of his 27 kickoffs have resulted in touchbacks. But against South Carolina, because of the dangerous return game, they were able to drop kick 6 different times with the punter, Connor Wesselman, a transfer from Stanford, just to be able to directionally kick the ball at a place where Nick Harbor was not at on kick returns. So again, a little creativity from Eric Link, the special teams coach, and Eli Drinkwitz.
Well, watch out for that coming up on Saturday. You mentioned Coach Drinkwitz. He's probably one of my more entertaining coaches that I follow at SEC Media Days, or just keep up with his appearances on the Paul Feinbaum Show. What's he like to interact with day in, day out as you cover the Tigers?
Very thoughtful, very intelligent, enjoys a good laugh, but is a guy that's very businesslike as well, too. I mean this sincerely when I say this, and I've said it publicly a few times now. Eli Drinkwitz is going to win a national championship. I believe he is that organized. I believe he is that skillful as a recruiter. I believe that he's a good play caller and also has the ability to organize his staff. And I think he's very good with clock management. I think those are some of the tools that you need to have aside from support internally and externally. I think Eli Drinkwitz is a coach that will win a national championship in his career. I just hope selfishly it's at Missouri while I'm still here.
Certainly can understand that. And he's rebuilding this Missouri program. We understand rebuilding is a really all-around Faurot Field at Memorial Stadium. What does everything look like as Alabama gets ready to come to town coming up on Saturday? And then are you excited about the future vision of your home stadium?
Yeah, Roger, I am. And candidly, I'll tell you, the construction of the North End Zone project has been going so fast that I'm anxious to see what they've been able to do since the UMass game a couple of weeks ago. What fans will notice right away is that the legendary Rock M that was a part of Faurot Field since its inception is no longer there. It is now a construction zone, and there used to be, at least the last time we were there, there was a large wall that backed to a club area that they were building. But the structure of itself, all the steel for the project has been put in place, and so they're feverishly working on continuing to finish it out. But it is the most expensive undertaking that Mizzou Athletics and the University of Missouri has taken part in terms of its sports facilities. Mizzou Arena, now 20 plus years old, was built at a cost of about $75 to $80 million. This is a $250 million project. And it is just going to be fantastic. And it's thanks to the leadership of the university president, Moon Choi, who has really, pushed this thing and been able to keep people on pace to make sure that it's ready to go later this summer. His leadership, and of course the board of curators and Laird Veach, our director of athletics, get a lot of credit for not only making sure it's going to happen, the fundraising components, but also just the vision of what it's going to look like. And for Alabama fans coming, I'd say go to mutigers.com and you can find a link to the flyover, if you will, the fly through. It's going to be a pretty cool facility.
And for any other fans that are making their way to Columbia this weekend, anything else they should check out either on campus, around Columbia, Missouri, that'll be worth their time?
There are restaurants around town that people have talked about for years in the SEC since Missouri joined back in 12. I mean, Shakespeare's Pizza is something that Missouri's known for. Booch's is a burger place that's a pool hall that goes back to the late 1800s, and that's downtown on 9th Street. I think the big thing is for people to come in, enjoy themselves. And I think they'll find a hospitable group that'll be welcoming them to town this weekend.
We look forward to it. Mike, just thank you for the time you've given us. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday. All the best to you and the Tigers. Thank you.
Always great to see you. I look forward to seeing you Saturday. Take care, Roger.
We thank Mike Kelly for his time. We look forward to seeing him on Saturday. That's what's coming up next here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Alabama football against Mizzou as we take a look at our upcoming schedule. Early start time with that 11 a.m. kickoff, so that means we'll be on the radio starting at 8 a.m. from Faurot Field. We look forward to full radio network coverage of that game. Remember, if you're on the go, keep up with us on the Varsity Network app. You can also watch the Booth Cam presented by Regions Bank, streaming live on all CTSN social media platforms, especially here on YouTube. Then Kalen DeBoer will talk about the game with Chris Stewart on the Kalen DeBoer television show on Sunday to our TV affiliates across the state and RolledTide.com. Monday, we'll be back with Crimson Tide Rewind at Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Vestavia Hills. Tyler Watson and I will break down Alabama against Missouri, then look ahead to Alabama against Tennessee next week as well. Crimson Drive driven by NASCAR. This show will be back on Tuesday and Thursday at 2 o'clock. Hey Coach on Wednesday, getting you set for the third Saturday in October. But right now we're focused on those Missouri Tigers. Alabama and Missouri coming up this weekend. Make sure you follow us on all of our social media platforms at UA_CTSN. You can keep up with some behind the scenes of what we're up to in Columbia, as well as watch all of the booth camp footage presented by Regions Bank. Make sure, again, you like and subscribe our channel, and make sure you turn on notifications here on YouTube so you don't miss anything from the Crimson Tide Sports Network. That's going to wrap up this busy edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Huge thank you to our guest, Yhonzae Pierre, Josh Pate, Mike Kelly, as well as Kalen DeBoer joining Chris Stewart last night with Justin Jefferson for the final word that we'll get to in just a moment. Thanks to Ethan Carabin, he put this entire show together. Hopefully his Brewers lose tonight. My Cubs win in Game 4 of the National League Division Series, but appreciate Ethan and all of his good work. Now, we are going to close out the show by hearing from the head coach of the Crimson Tide, Kalen DeBoer. He and Justin Jefferson were on stage at Baumhauer's last night with Chris Stewart for Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show presented by Alpha Insurance. Here's the final message from Coach DeBoer as we get ready for Saturday, Alabama against Missouri.
I'm excited about the next opportunity. This is our third, game in a row in the conference against a ranked opponent, and that's life in the SEC. And our guys, I think, understand that, understand what it takes the last couple weeks, and they know it's going to be that and then some. Going on the road, going to be a physical game. We got to be ready to play right off the bat with kickoff.
That's the final word from Coach DeBoer, presented by McCurry Van and Car Rental. Thanks to McCurry Van and Car Rental for their partnership with us on the network. Thanks to Kalen DeBoer and Justin Jefferson for your time here on the show. Good luck this weekend, gentlemen. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Roll Tide.